5. It is a common complaint of the mature marriage when the giddy romantic feelings that first brought you together fade a little bit. They've been replaced perhaps with routine and responsibility. Life takes over love and the spark is lost.
So Studio 5 relationship coach Matt Townsend is here with 5 ways to renew the romance. Not only some tips, but some exercises for everybody at home to put into practice and really get something done.
Yes, and we are going to light it up.
Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
I wish you put those
Did you see that?
fingers away. What is that? No. You know what? In my house, we don't point guns at people. Look at you.
You know they're not real.
Well, I don't care. Put them away.
These spark things kind of got you thinking, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You hear this a lot from couples?
Every day. But here's the cool thing.
It's the whole thing. When you're first dating, it's the yearning, and then it gets into the earning, and then in the enduring after that.
Not the enduring to the end.
Yeah.
In the earning level. Somebody's reading a book.
So well, yeah.
Matt's got a little book out there with some of these ideas.
You got to go look for it.
Okay, so this is past the yearning stuff. This is when
you got to earn it. Now, here's the deal. The cool thing is, because I had somebody in my neighborhood today call and say, what if my husband has too much spark? And I want to back it down. So this is what you do. If your husband has too much spark, just do half of the things I'm going to tell you. Or just do them in reverse order, and it'll fix everything. Okay?
Right now that neighbor's at home watching, saying, great. That's the last time I talked to him again.
Thanks, Robin. Good tip. Okay. 2 little sparks, so this is how we pick it up. Now, remember, we used to have spark, right? Back when we were yearning.
Yeah.
Let's all take 1 second and just think back to that day.
I remember it.
Are the crickets chirping in your head, or what?
No.
Okay.
What was different back then?
Things were new. Things were alive. It was just, it wasn't, you didn't have the routine and responsibility that you get
They're
when you're
fresh, they're fun. The new
fresh
word.
fun. You had energy. When you went on a bike ride like I did today, you didn't fall off your bike twice. Back then, you could stay on your bike. A lot of stuff was going for you, right? But back then, when you wanted to get a spark, you usually would ask someone out, right? Okay, rule number 1. If you want a little spark, you got to make a date. Back then, it used to work. So we're going to go through everything you used to do on a date that worked, and I'll bet you $1,000 it'll work again today. You got to make a date. Most couples that don't have spark don't have time for each other. You don't have time for each other, you're not going to have any sparkage.
So this is your regular Friday night?
Now, you could have 3 dates.
Okay.
Go crazy. You could make a date at a soccer game where you just walk away from your children for a half hour and walk around the park. But you got to make a date. So one of the rules is you got to make time. Activity number 1, make time for romance. If you don't have time for romance, if you're not anticipating it, if you're not thinking about it, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. What do you want to bet? You're not going to have surgery unless you schedule it.
Pretty good bet.
Call me old-fashioned, but it's just not going to happen. So the first rule is the easiest rule. Then we got to get into all the things we used to do on the date, okay? So the first rule, what is it?
Make a date.
Okay, you got to have the date. Rule number 2, though, is you got to look for the fun, not the familiar. When you were dating back in the day, you weren't looking for just boring familiarity. You were looking for what was fun, what was exciting, what was interesting. Do you remember back on those dates? You'd be willing to try anything. Your date would pick you up and you'd say, we're going ice blocking. And you'd be, yes! I love ice blocking. You're wearing a dress and heels. And you're like, sweet, because who cares? Because I love ice blocking. You'd try anything. Now, if you imagine trying to get your wife to go ice blocking, what would that take?
That is not happening.
That's not going to happen
right now.
She's going to have to think it through. Now, we know in our marriages, we end up going for the familiar, not the fun. Because when you can go home and the day's over, what's the first kind of clothing you're going to reach for, Brooke?
Your sweatpants.
Sweatpants.
Yeah.
Yes! That's what we call familiar.
They're not hot? Sweatpants?
Yeah, they're not hot.
Oh.
They're not
But
hot.
they're familiar. We like to go for that cozy, warm, familiar stuff.
So you're saying if people just were to follow rule number 1, which I think a lot of couples pride themselves in, they say, hey, we have a regular Friday night date. If you just were to follow that rule, you're kind of setting yourself up for a trap.
Right. Because think about it, I guarantee it's the same date every week.
You go to the same restaurant.
It's familiar, we order the same thing. Now, research shows the more fun, the more interesting, the more energy you have, you associate that energy and excitement with the date. So if you lack chemistry just because you're old, then you need to create chemistry by doing something fun, focusing on the fun. Remember, back in the day, you used to risk. So here's your assignment. You need to go risk a little bit. You need to start having dates that have a little risk, a little edge. One way to do that is to go back to all the old dates you used to have and start redoing them. Think of your best dates you had when you were first dating. Like my wife and I would play tennis. We haven't played tennis together for years. We would go to the park and do it in the old days. They used to call it parking. And we would park. We don't even park anymore except when we have 5 kids in the back.
So now Marty's at home saying, great, I gotta go park, and Christy's at home saying, great, I gotta go ice blocking.
Exactly.
You know?
I'll bring a block of ice on the way home.
I promise there'll be energy. So you got your job, risk it, get out there, do something different. Okay, the next one, are you ready? Talk and laugh. How many times have you gone out with your partner and there hasn't been a whole lot of laughing? Or every time you tell a joke, she's like, heard it, not funny. So we'll go out with our friends and I'll be right about to say something and my wife will say, no, we've already talked about it. So she's kind of lost the excitement. See, on Studio 5, I'm hilarious. But at home, I'm just boring.
You're hilarious.
Uh-huh.
Really?
Have you not read the ratings?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. I'm so sick of it.
We gotta keep you humble.
Well, you totally
That's
do.
all.
We got to talk and laugh together. We don't even talk anymore.
Somebody Facebooked the other day and they said, I just watched a couple at an hour-long dinner date and not one word was said and not one smile was cracked. But that's an easy pace to fall into.
In my workshops, when I have everyone turn and face each other and they're all like, oh, jeez, now I want you to talk. Okay, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to talk, and it's killing them. Like, are you serious?
It's like pulling teeth.
You're paying me money. I'm paying you money to make me talk to her. And it's a big deal. So your homework assignment, this is the next activity. When you go out on the date, you're doing something fun, start focusing on what they're saying. Look with curiosity. Back when you were dating, you were curious about them. You'd find little things that were interesting. Now you think you know everything about them because you've lived with them for 20 plus years. Now find something that's new. If you're looking for new in the conversation, you're going to find it. And find a new way to laugh at their jokes. Even the fact that he's told that 14 times and he doesn't remember it.
So put this away.
Shut up and listen. Tons of fun. Okay, you ready? This one's the next one. Now, eye to eye.
You're a big proponent of the eye to eye.
I am. I think eyes are important, and I think where would we be without them?
Wait. So if I'm sitting on the couch, my dear, sweet, lovely wife next to me, we're watching TV or watching whatever, and we're sitting next to each other, that doesn't count because we're not looking eye to eye?
What you do is you grab her face, and you turn it to you, and you sensually squeeze her cheeks. And then you say something as simple as, baby, fixate on these 2 things. And then you put her in a trance. Okay, my bad. But I get carried away. I got carried away on that one.
Just a tad.
But I was feeling something inside, and I was going with it.
The problem was you were staring at Darren.
Oh, that's right. Well, I would do it. That would be so weird.
We're done. Move it on.
You know, the ratings would soar. But eye to eye, we want eye to eye because you know what? Honestly, eye to eye, there's this spark. And in some of my activities, you have to face each other, and I don't even allow you to talk. So here's your homework assignment. Every one of you, listen to me. Trust me. I'm a highly trained professional. You, for 7 minutes, have to face your partner, and you can't say a word.
How long?
7 minutes. You don't talk. You just look in their eyes. And you can't go, you just have to. Now,
just to connect. We're connecting.
I promise you. Because remember back when you were dating? You just could not get enough of their eyes. And you're like, I swear I see heaven in your eyeballs. I almost touched your eye. So we want to go eye to eye. We totally want to go eye to eye. And it's a big deal. I promise you'll feel connection.
Final tip.
Last and certainly not least, is touch, touch, touch.
Shit, 3 times.
Touch, 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 touch. Research shows people, when we're touching, it creates endorphins that make us feel good. It decreases our stress. We connect. It feels good. Now, the problem with touch is sometimes one of our partners, sometimes they're called men, think that touch means something else.
And it can, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And it can, every other month.
We're talking about sparking.
For the rest of the time, we need to learn to touch without that thought.
Because for women, it's the hand-holding.
It could be the hand-holding.
Okay. Yeah.
Here's your homework assignment, and challenge me. I dare you. Try me. 30 days, cuddle time. 15 minutes a night. Jeez. Every single night. Touching. No, I have 2 rules, and I hope they're appropriate.
Oh, great.
No.
The rules are no griping, so no negative talk while we're cuddling.
Okay.
And no groping.
Okay.
No touch.
Enough said.
We should just hold each other. Now, it doesn't mean you can't have other things at another time. This is cuddle time. Give it 15 minutes a night. Test me. See what happens to your marriage after 30 days of love fest.
Good tips, and we're going to...